What's going on, guys? Cameron back again from Attack on Anime, here to bring you a theory that I've had on the anime Erased. And this theory actually started off as like a joke amongst me and my friends. Like, we were watching the anime and I posed this theory and it all started off as a joke, but the more and more I started to think about it, the more sense it actually made. And this theory is that this whole time, everything we've been seeing up until this point, from the beginning up until, when the end, because at the time of this video, episode 10 just came out today, so it's not over yet. But from beginning to end, that this has all been Satoru's manga that he was working on from the beginning. Now, why I say this theory is because at the very beginning of the show, we see Satoru go to talk to his boss at the manga company, and he tells him that you're not digging deep enough. Like, your readers won't be able to connect with you. They won't be able to see you in your work because you're not getting deep enough. And Satoru goes on this whole inner monologue talking about how he's scared to get to the heart of his own mind. And what I think that actually means, because at first when I first heard that, I'm like, okay, that doesn't really mean anything. It just blew right past me. But after seeing the manga, after seeing the anime up until episode 10, and then going back and seeing that actually resonates with me, because he's just like, I'm scared to get to the heart of my own mind. He's in denial about a lot of things because he had the chance to save Kaio when he was a kid in the original timeline, and he passed up that opportunity, and then 3 people ended up dying that day, or dying over that time, because he decided to ignore Kaio that day. So I'm thinking that in the future he would want to delve into his own mind and finally decide to write about it. So he writes himself as the superhero. That's why every time he's talking about being a hero, you see that image of the guy in like the Power Ranger outfit, like touching him on the head, because Satoru wants to be that hero. Like, where do we typically connect superheroes with? We connect them with comic books and mangas. So Satoru decides to write about his own journey of how he's going to save all of these people and make sure Yuki doesn't go to jail, and make sure the right person, the right killer, gets caught. So he goes on this whole path of writing this, and I think that makes so much more sense, because in a way I would hate to see this ending, because up until this point we felt that all this was so real. That'd be kind of like in The Walking Dead, that you get to the end of The Walking Dead and you find out, oh, it was just Rick Grimes' dream and he was still in a coma the whole time. Like, that type of ending would make you mad. Like, I would never, if The Walking Dead did that, I swear there would be riots in the streets. So I feel like the same thing applies to this anime, because seeing that, it would make me mad, but it would make sense, because we've all had that where we want to go back so bad to a time in our lives where we want to fix something, but we can't. So we express it in different ways to just have it be an outlet, because letting that all pin up inside you will eventually drive you insane. And we all know Satoru wants to be a manga author, so he's just like, I gotta think of a way to let this out and get this off of my chest, delve into my own mind. So that's why I feel like this theory makes a lot of sense. It's just Satoru wanting to see himself as the hero in a time where he couldn't. Now, yes, this, like I said, this will make a lot of people mad, and me personally, I don't want to see this ending, just because up until this point we've been led to believe of how real this is. But like I said, this type of ending would be that bittersweet ending. We would get to the end and see him possibly save everybody, get Yuki out of jail, prove his innocence, and just to get to the end to find out, like, you just see that final pen stroke of the last word that he writes, and then he looks up and he's just like, if only, and then it ends. That would be such a depressing ending to this long... You've been rooting for Satoru this whole time, this 29-year-old trapped in a 10-year-old's body, and he's been trying to save people and eventually change the future and save his own mom. So it's just, all of this leads to this theory being crazy, but at the same time plausible. And I like to hear your guys' thoughts on my theory, because the more and more I even think about it, the more and more I'm starting to convince myself that this could possibly happen. And just the way of just seeing that last, like I said, that last pen stroke, and then he just looks up and says, if only, and then the anime just ends. It'd be such a bittersweet ending that I would die a little inside, because I'm like, bro, I thought you saved everybody. But yeah, guys, that's been my little theory on what I think the ending may possibly be. We're getting pretty close now. Like I said, episode 10 just came out today as of the recording of this video. So we have 2 episodes left, and we'll see if I'm right or not. Like I said, I hope I'm not. I hope this has all been real up until this point. But I'm still saying this theory has plausibility, especially since this was the first thing we saw in the first episode. Him tearing up his manga, him talking to his boss and saying he's afraid to get to the heart of his own mind. And I feel like that's going to come into play heavily with the ending. And if he says that quote again, that's just going to prove it even more. But yeah, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know in the comments down below, do you have a different theory on how you think it's going to end? Do you agree with my theory and can see if it's plausible or not? Or do you just outright hate my theory and want me to just shut up and talk about this? But let me know down in the comments below. But until next time, guys, peace.